this is time for free your mind and your soul. Yo, half the story has never been told. Ladies, you got to demand what you want, and what we want is respect, right? Yo, this is up on the track, I know so you have to deal with it right. Freedom every time for the sisters. Check this. Watch this.
Here we go now. Listen, if I'm boom boom rule, I be the ruler like Slick Rick. Get with this wick-witted Adidas wearing chick. Papa got a brand new bag. Mama got a brand new Jag. Or go tag. I ain't no old hag. I represent not only in the kitchen, in the bedroom, but also in the boardroom. So give me more room. Deny my opportunity. You in jeopardy. Yo, set me free. Don't hinder me. Let me be.
I'm fighting for freedom. I got the heat in case you need them. Straight soldier. Ain't nobody told ya. Hold up on them lies. I know your games and your plans.
Hello, good evening, afternoon, morning. Welcome to the Book Slam Extra. I'm your host, Jules. I hope everyone is doing okay. I hope you can hear me properly and there's no errors and mistakes in the sound. I am doing well. Thank you very much for asking, if you did. Now, we are going to have a little bit of a look at plot twists today. So we've got a guest author called Jonah, and they're going to come on in a minute. And I also have my co-host in the wings ready to come on as well. But before we go, just to very quickly introduce you, in case you hadn't seen this before, this is the Book Slam Extra. This is the sister cousin to the Book Slam, which is done on Tuesdays, and we do deep dives into books and stories and authors, and I ask lots of questions and they tell me lots of juicy gossip and stuff about themselves. This is streaming live to both YouTube, Facebook and LinkedIn, as well as live on Clubhouse. So if you're only listening, you don't get to see the glorious images in front of you. However, you're probably not missing out a huge amount because you're going to be able to hear everything that we're saying, which is probably the most important bit. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome to the stream my lovely wingman, who I actually couldn't do this without. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
How are you?
Glad it's working out today. This is great. I'm good.
That was a frazzled period of time before coming on air.
We made it. We survived.
We made it. We did. We made it. Clinging on. How are you?
How's your day been besides that?
My day has been full on. I have not stopped since I got up this morning, and I've just been straight back to back with teaching. So, which has been fun. I love it. But it's been, it's been a full-on day. But apart from that, it's been good.
Good.
How's your day been?
Well, it's only noon here, so I'm just sort of getting going. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. I keep forgetting because you're still morning.
Yep.
Yeah. I wish I could do you know what? I really wish we could have like a little button that we could press, so when we have days where it's like really fraught or difficult, we could just push the button and we get a rewind and we can just reset and just maybe start again, or maybe go back and just maybe live the day again, but without stress.
So convenient.
It would, wouldn't it? It'd be like the time turner in Harry Potter, but not having to wear a silly necklace around your neck. But you could just press the button and then you could just, not have to worry about it.
Sounds like that's a book that needs to be written.
I'll add it to my list. Now, speaking of books,
yes. What are we talking about today?
Well, I thought we could dive into looking at plot twists because I have them in my book, and I know you have them in your book, and I'm pretty sure that Jonah has them in their book, and I'm pretty sure that most authors do. And so, but plot twists seem to be something that lots of people struggle with. So I thought we could maybe talk a little bit, about the plot twists that we might have, without giving obviously any spoilers away, unless you want to. Obviously, that's
certainly that's great. Yeah. And I'm all for spoilers. I love giving away spoilers in books.
I love spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
I'm one of these people that if you tell me about the whole story of a movie, for example, that I haven't seen, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And then when I get to the movie, I'm like, I don't remember any of the bit that they told me. This is really cool. I've never seen this before.
Yeah. to me, the type of spoiler that ruins a movie is, oh my God, William Wallace dies at the end of Braveheart. I think if you don't know the history of that and don't know he's going to die at the end of Braveheart, then oh my God, then it ruins the movie for you. That, oh my God, no, so sad. But I think the purpose is to get somebody excited about it. You tell somebody something interesting about the story, a movie, a book, whatever, and that's supposed to get them to want to watch it, not to ruin it for them. Yeah. I think spoilers are good. By the way, your microphone sounds perfect. I know you were worried about it when you first came on. It sounds perfect. Yeah. No.
Good. It was more like just because it was, as you know, a challenge getting on today. Oh. And so there was bits I forgot, and like that's why we started a few minutes late. So I do apologize to anyone who was waiting for us late.
We're so casual here at the Book Slam. We're so casual. No.
Yeah, I know. I think I probably worry too much. I want it to go like perfect, and then when it doesn't, I'm like, oh my God, what's ended? Oh, what do I do? Drama. Yeah. So it's been really cool actually, because we've also been collaborating. So both you and I are authors. What's the genre you write in?
I write fantasy, both light and dark fantasy. I've got a horribly dark fantasy book that's come out recently, the Mantis variant. It came out right before Christmas. I'm super excited about that. It's on Amazon, and it's a quick 200 pages or so. It's not super long, and it's like we're talking about. It's actually full of plot twists. That was one of the things that I wanted to put into it, was just turns that the reader's not expecting the whole time, the whole way through. So that's what the book is. Basically, it's just chaos, one second to the next.
That's really cool.
I also write like pretty fantasy as well. That's not dark and miserable and horrible like that book is. I do like the dark. I'm really excited about that. The Starting, and that's my other book, and it's coming out with Jules's publishing company. So I'm really excited about that. And I went through it with Grammarly this week, and I was amazed by what the Grammarly, even the free version, helped me see and that I missed. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Grammarly shouts at me quite a lot when I write books.
Yes.
It's like, it's like, I mean, I love it, but it's like being back at school and having the teacher underline all the bad words and all the stuff that you shouldn't have done. It's just like, oh, God damn it. We start a space. Yeah, it's a really useful tool. It is a really useful tool. It really does help with your writing. It helps make you a better writer as well. But it's it does like to tell you when you've done something wrong quite a lot, and it tells you exactly how you've done wrong. So when you're going through it and you're doing all the corrections, you're like, oh my God, I've got like 5,681 corrections to go.
Just slug away at it. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good. I mean, so you've got the not high fantasy, but like you've got the Otherworld fantasy erotica that's coming out with me, which I'm really, really super excited for. Like, so excited about that one. It's something that I have never really read huge amounts of in terms of my own reading things, but your storytelling is just amazing. So I was just like, oh, I need this book. It's amazing, and I'm genuinely can't wait for that to come out. So
stop making me blush on camera. Oh my God.
I done it. I've achieved something today. That's so cool. I'm just seeing if I can find yes, I do. Can I share the front cover with everyone?
Please, yeah, of course.
So
I'm so excited about that. Yeah.
No, I'm doing it my way.
Backwards.
It's because it's not mirrored, so I'm like, oh, I can't do it. This is the book. This is the book. And so it's fantasy with erotica, queer norm sort of romance stuff going on in it.
All the details. That's awesome.
Not for children.
Not for children. Yeah, there should be a parental advisory sticker up on the corner somewhere.
Yeah, I think that it should have something like that. Explicit content. But it's it's a fantastical journey of personhood, really, isn't it?
It's definitely about the celebration of people, queer people in particular, romance. The adventure aspect is definitely secondary to the character development, the world development. Yeah, I am completely in love with my whole cast of characters in the book.
That's good. That's good. You should be in love with your cast of characters, even the bad ones. All right.
So now you have to go. Tell us about your writing. What do you write?
So I write dark fantasy. I actually have. I'm not going to show you the spine.
Inside joke here.
So I have a limited edition ones of these. This is book 2.
Let's see.
So this is book 2. Limited edition ones of these. I only have 30 copies of these. So if you're interested in dark fantasy, which follows a little bit of science fiction as well in there, but it's book 2 of my series with Ray. Both of these have won awards. I just haven't put the sticker on this one yet. And it follows a girl who basically gets completely traumatized and her recovery from mental health with like fantasy backdrop and like lots of shit happening to her to make her feel bad. But
we torment our characters, don't we? We torment them.
Oh God. Yeah, I wouldn't survive if I was her, to be fair, in this one. So there's lots of monsters, there's lots of monster killings, there's lots of battle scenes, there's lots of people dying, lots of injuries. Ray's not very good yet as a warrior, so she just get injured quite a few times. And yeah, it's cool. I really like this one. It leads on really nicely from this one, which kind of leaves you hanging a little bit as to what's going to go on, where the story's headed. Whereas this one, you start piecing it together. And start having a bit more of an understanding of the world, and the world that she's developed. Well, not developed, the world that she is in, I should say. And then on top of that, I've also started creating an anthology series, which is pure science fiction. There's no fantasy in it at all at the moment. And I would say hard science fiction, I think, for that one. I'm not sure. Yeah. There's a specific genre, but it's hard science fiction. And that is like the real backstory that happens thousands of years before we meet Ray. So it's kind of, it gives you a bit more world building, which I cannot fit into these novels, which if you can see, they're a little bit chunky. And then I also have written 2 children's stories. I can show you the images actually. So this is book 1.
Rainbow Bridges and Monster Hearts.
Yeah, Rainbow Bridges and Monster Hearts, and this is the Monster Heart Saga, and this is basically following 2 characters, Buddy and the monster Gloomloo, who have to try and help children. And then this is book 2 from the same series, and again, these are for children, so these are quite safe to read, but these are both fantasy, and they're about children who have bad feelings, and the worry monster goes to help them. And if you know anything about worry monsters, you know that children like that. So monsters.
Where can we get them?
So you can get them from Amazon, and they are actually live on my website as well. And I will be putting them up on social media as well. I will tag the links and stuff in a bit in during the show, so you can purchase them there. So shall we invite our guest author on today?
Yes, let's have Jonah come on. Yes, please.
Would you like to introduce them? Okay, welcome to the stream, Jonah. Hang on a second. There we go.
Okay, hello.
Hello, welcome.
This is
I'm so excited to have you.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I've got a bit of a cold at the moment. Ignore me.
No,
it's okay. I kind of have a cough, so you might hear me cough a little bit if I talk a lot.
Fine. So don't worry. If you need to cough, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
So where to begin?
Would you like to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about what kind of books you write or working on?
Well, okay, I'm Jonah, and I'm a lover of fantasy, and currently I'm writing my first one. It's called Sally's Grimoire right now, which Adam knows about because he's been a great help in get that ball rolling. And it's just currently kind of just the magical school kind of quest fantasy. I'm pretty sure as I keep writing, I will figure out the rest of all of it, if it's going to be darker or lighter. And let's see, that's like currently my main one, because everything else is kind of just like bits and pieces put together, and that's like I don't have anything concrete yet. But
wonderful. That sounds marvelous. Yeah.
It does. And that's like the sort of beginning building blocks. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk today. Building blocks of writing stories, isn't it? You know, getting all the bits together and seeing what's there.
Yeah.
Now, what genre is it?
As I said, it's fantasy. It's meant to be like mix of magical school and a quest fantasy. Nice. Basically, it's about this girl, Sally, who the way I have it right now is she's being brought to this magical school which I'm not going to say the full name out loud right now. It's called AQUAD, and she's looking for this grimoire that she finds that her mother has been studying all this time until she mysteriously passed away, and she's not the only person who's looking for this grimoire. So, and I also have this kind of magical instructor who's kind of like her guardian, because she's staying at his house, and he's not what he seems either, and it seems to have connections to her mother. That's
cool.
That's all I'm really cool. Say right now about it.
Well, then shall we discuss plot twists? Jules, did you have one in mind that you wanted to share with us from your book in particular?
Oh, I have a good one. Now, it was probably easier if I give you a little bit of background first, because I won't make sense otherwise. So the place where my stories take place is another. Sorry, I had to disappear. I was listening. I'm really sorry. My dog had a shoe that was not a shoe to chew, so I had to go rescue it before he ate anymore. So I'm really sorry.
Gotta save that shoe before you take over. I
was like, oh my gosh, I've got a shoe. I've got to listen. So I'm so sorry. So I have. The place where the characters live is a place called Ede, and it's a planet, you know, a very, very long way away from here, near Kepler, and near the Kepler constellation, out that way somewhere. And the humans are not the native people. The humans crash landed on the planet, and this is all explained in the anthology that I'm writing. But what happens is the native species that live there are called Okarians, kind of like pretty orcs with green skin that photosynthesize, which is quite cool, I think. And they have relationships with humans and breed with humans. And I'm using the term breed rather than, you know, having children, because it's more like breeding in terms of the way that both groups see it. The children that are born from these Orcarians are born obviously with the DNA. However, the human DNA doesn't allow most of the features to be shown from the Orcarians. So like the Orcarians have like long pointy ears and their green skins and things like that, whereas the humans obviously aren't. And the only thing that shows is green eyes. Not just like normal green that humans would get, but like more emerald type green or flecks of green. And several of my characters have exactly that. And the ability that they have internally enables them to link with this particular symbiotic creature that's basically smashed onto the planet via a meteorite, and enables them to wield certain weapons. And so this is where we meet Ray, and she has emerald green eyes. And it enables her to be able to wield these weapons when no one else can. But it's when that happens. So I'm not going to give away how that happened or when that happened, because that would give away too much of my plot. But unless you wanted to find out more information, in which case I may divulge. Depends on what you ask.
Hey, tell us anything. Yeah, no, I mean,
Whatever
spoil
you're willing
away.
to share.
Yeah,
The ball, as they say, the ball's in your court.
and it's such a complex world and story.
Yeah, it's taken a while to build it in terms of thinking about it and also creating it. Because the outward demonstration of these genes is only through the eyes, most humans who are walking around actually have no idea whether they have these or not. And because of the society that they live in, so what's happened is you've got space flights, advanced space travel that's enabled us to get to another planet, a crash which has then stopped us from being able to achieve any further building, a war which has then created an inability to then create stuff like computers and things like that, because it's been taken away by the Orcarians. We're now being observed by like lab rats effectively, and by them, and so you've ended up with more Middle Ages medieval type style of doing things, and we kind of catch it where you've got these odd mix of more ultra modern and ultra old stuff. And so the story in the first book seems very eclectic and doesn't really feel like there's much sense to it. It feels a bit jarring in sense of the world. Nothing seems to make much sense. But then when you start going through it, and I'm in the process of writing book 3, you start seeing a lot more of the sort of magic coming out, which is how the humans see it. And so there becomes a greater understanding as to what's going on with these genes and how they work. And at the moment, book 2, Ray is only just starting to understand that there is something different about her that other people don't have. And so she is able to wield a sword, and she's also able to wield a bow that no one else is able to wield. And the only other people who are sort of similar would be the envoy, who are the enemies. They are the main enemies in book 1 and book 2, but they are not the main enemy. They are an envoy. And so if that gives you any more information. And so the envoy are able to actually wield swords and bows, and they also have massive plasma cannons that are able to fire huge cannonballs that basically decimate whoever they hit. And these are all built from the same stuff. However, it's a different color to what Ray has, and because it's a different color, it means something different. And the symbiotic creature feeds off our hormones, and good people have one color and bad people have another. So that's very simplistic in its thing, but it does kind of have this sort of good and evil type thing to it. Even though everyone's very grey, not color wise, but in terms of their personalities, there's no one sits in the sort of ultra bad and ultra good sort of camp. They're all mixed up. Yeah. Any more information you want to know?
I know you're leading us up to a twist. Just keep laying it out for us. Exciting.
Well, yes. Okay. I feel like I'm leading you down this sort of like there's multiple twist patterns going on at the moment. So what happens is, because of this link to the symbiosis, the Orcarians were very, very early on. I mean, this happened like 50,000 years before the humans even crash landed, which was obviously thousands of years before we meet Ray. And so when these meteorites crash landed on the planet, I mean, they weren't massive ones that destroy cities, but they were big enough to sort of like remain intact. So
so excited.
And so when they land, the Orcarians are like, oh, it's a meteorite, and then they are able to almost instantly combine with it, and that instantaneous link to the symbiotic creature enables them, because their DNA, their genealogy enables them to work with this symbiotic creature. And I mean, it's microscopic, but comes in rock form, so it's like a rock is like a massive colony, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
And so yeah, and so what happens is they instantly then their technology advances quite significantly, and the symbiotic creature enables them to study the world around them. So it brings up this invisible sort of dome that tells them everything they need, all the atoms, chemicals, technology, engineering, everything. And so the Okarians use this to go up into space, and then they find out their planet's dying, so they come back down from space, they look after their planet, and they use the symbiotic creature called the Tau to actually help them look after the planet. And it enables them to also communicate with other animals, which are mythological creatures that we know of, like we have manticores and peritons and things like that. And so this technology and this ability to do that becomes I feel like I'm rambling.
No, keep rambling. Ramble away.
Keep going.
Okay. You just tell me to shut up when you're bored. And so what happens is they become under a spotlight of another civilization who are desperately trying to seek power and control and want to dominate.
Separate from the Okarians and the humans, another species? Okay,
Yeah.
just okay.
Yeah. And so the Okarians then, are at war with this other group, and they manage to sort of get rid of them off the planet. And I think that is the last of them. But without realizing what's happened is this group, this other species, have actually, they didn't come on to colonize. They came on to build portals and hide portals in very secluded spots, so that when they are able to, and they have built their army up sufficiently, and they have stolen some of the the Tau, not the towel, sorry, the Tau, T-A-U. I was thinking towel, like as in that what you dry yourself with. What they start figuring out how to use it, but obviously their intentions are not good, and these portals remain in place intact for the most part. And then enter present day with Rey, and the portals then wreak havoc in her world. And book 3, we start seeing them being used really as a doorway, as a gateway from their world to the Okarians, and they literally decimate the place. So there you go. So there's quite a few plot twists there, I think, but it all kind of leads into each other. Did you keep up? Was I talking too fast? Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just I'm now very intrigued. I gotta get your book now.
Please do. But as you can see, there's so much world building. I don't have space to write it and build it into my series with Rey. It won't make any sense. So I've had to start an anthology that kind of is like a companion series, so that if you want to find out the history and what's going on, you can. That
was Tolkien's initial plan. He wanted to release The Lord of the Rings and then all these other supplemental books about the history of Middle Earth and all that stuff. I think what you're doing is an awesome idea. I think it's super cool.
I think it's more because I have so much in my head.
Well, and you have to do it if you did it, you'd have to do it as exposition in the book. Rey is sitting there reading about the past, and so that's not as good as telling the story itself straight away. You're totally right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there are snippets in the book where she so there are snippets where you get tiny hints where she loves reading. She gets taught how to read, but she's got dyslexia, so she's not a very good reader, but she enjoys it anyway. And obviously she doesn't know it's dyslexia. You just hear a remark from her, her consciousness, where she's kind of like, I wish the words would stay still on the page. That's all you get, but that's typical dyslexic thing. Yeah. And so she is starved of reading, I suppose. I like if I haven't read something for a couple of days, I feel really at odds. Like if I've gone on holiday and there's been nothing to read, I'm like, I need to read something. And so she's a bit like, I suppose. And she gets injured and gets looked after by Tristan, who is, I suppose, a kind of mentorish kind of person who has a I can't remember the colour of his eyes off the top of my head. That's bad, isn't it? I think he has just nice chest up brown eyes. But he has a bookcase.
Because the eye colors mean something. That's important. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So she has green eyes. So does Raven. He has flecks in his eyes. And so, but she doesn't know anything about that. She has no clue what the green eyes mean. Like they're just eye color, as far as she's aware. Like we would just accept, if we met someone who had grey eyes, we would just accept them the same as someone who has brown or blue or green or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing. And she happens to see this bookcase whilst he's cooking a soup for her, and she's like, oh, books. And she sees one that looks interesting on its spine, and so she pulls it out, and she happens to just open it at a page, and there's writing in there, handwritten, and it's a journal, and it's a journal written by Tristan, and it has her father's name in it. So there are small, it's the ghost again. It has small snippets like that. So again, you get like little glimpses, but nothing's told to you. You have to discover it as you read. Yeah. So you go.
One twist after another, huh?
Well, so I suppose, like, you guys, when you're writing, you do lots of research, don't you, to try and find out, what kind of characters to have, character building, world building, etc., etc. And so one of the things that I read was how to write a good plot twist. And one of the things that stands out is where you keep your readers guessing the whole way through.
Hello, goodbye.
Hello.
It's my son. Show me your nails, Dan. Show me your nails. My son is cool. He's a cool dude.
Lovely, yes.
A good job.
I don't have my ring on, but I have a ring that fits my index here.
He's getting into all that at the moment. He's quite expressing himself, which is all cool.
Oh, you can't do it. Everything's inverted.
It is. It's weird, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's not mirrored.
Just taking
I love nail polish. I just do. Yep.
Oh, me too. I think it looks awesome. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Everything's still inverted. I'm trying to work.
I know it's weird, isn't it?
I do it, but I ruined my nails already.
Yeah, my nails look awful today, so I'm not keeping them on camera at all, because if anyone's in comments and they happen to see, they go, Jules, you need to get your nails down to a pedicure and a manicure. So
I think that's brilliant. You were researching how to write plot twists. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, so I did quite a lot of research about how to keep the readers engaged in your story. And one article I came across was how to write plot twists. And I think it's really good advice what I read. So they said, so you've got your story, you've got to a point and you want to work out what's going to happen next. So the first thing to do is think what could happen next and write that down. And then when you've got that written down, then think, well, what else could happen instead of that? And then write that one down. And then the next one, well, what else could happen instead of those two? And you keep working down your list until you get to the point where it's so far removed from what you originally thought, you go with that one, because that means that most people are not going to get it. Now, obviously, some plot twists are nice in terms of knowing where it's going. So, for example, if you're writing a kid's story, you kind of want a happy ending at the end. Sort of, for the most part, you don't want to have kids bawling their eyes out, my dog's died, all that kind of stuff. But in terms of when you're writing for adults, particularly, and young adults, having plot twists that really keep you guessing all the way through, it really keeps the reader, engaged. The other thing that it said was, if you have a plot twist that is so far removed from the actual story itself that makes no sense in your world or makes no sense in your plot, then that's probably not that great either. So there's like a fine line where you go one way or the other and it's too much or too little. Yeah. So I thought that was really useful, actually. So I've tried to do that. Maybe created a whole universe that like a parallel
Yeah,
universe.
I think that's brilliant. I think that's clever. Yeah.
It's yeah, I mean it's I think with the plot twist, what I did was I love a notebook. And so I was just looking to see if my notebook's easy to hand. It's not, it's under stuff. So I'll grab it in, in a minute. But I write everything down, and I tend to do timelines. And so when I'm doing a timeline, I try and fit things into the timeline that work within the world that I'm building, but also work for the characters. And whilst I do lean on that whole thing that your characters lead you very much, you also lead them. And so I have conversations with my characters, like particularly Ray, where like I've come up with an idea and I can see her now just kind of like going, fuck off. I'm not doing that. So I'm like, okay, sorry.
Well, no, I completely agree. The thing you write has to be true to the character that you've already created. I agree with that completely. Yeah, even if you're writing a plot twist, it still has to be in the person's character. Yeah,
Consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know how you interact with your characters in your minds, but mine certainly has very much to say. I can always imagine her like aiming her bow at me, going, "You fucking dare, and I will shoot," kind of thing. So yeah, she's a bit of a badass.
That's amazing.
Like.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I like her. What about you two? I've talked enough.
I would have not a whole lot to say because I'm still writing it, but I realized that since this is kind of going to be, the quest thing, there's probably going to be a lot of stuff like what's so special about this book that they need to look for it, like what's in it, and I have to. Well, and I'm not familiar with grimoire, so and I know there's like magic books, so it's like I'm trying to see like what it's all about, like what do I want for this? What's so important about it?
Right. What's special about this particular magic book?
Yeah.
Yep. I think that'd be fun to develop.
Yeah, I'm more of a pantser than a plotter, so my biggest thing right now is to actually, do a little planning with that, because I'm not in truth really good or familiar with doing plot twists. Most of my writing has been mostly when I was in college. I was a creative writing major. And there was more literary. They didn't really encourage fantasy because it's short stories, and most of them are like 10-page long, so you can't quite do that. So I didn't really have much of that plot twist stuff as far as I can remember. I've been out of school for almost 5? It's gonna be 5 years this year. I feel old now. So
when you're sorry, go on.
Yeah. So I actually don't remember a whole lot of my work. I know I tried to incorporate more of I tried to do a little fantasy when I could, but I didn't really get that opportunity when I was in school. So I don't really. Yeah. So I didn't really get a chance to do anything like plot twists like that. So it's basically kind of like learning all that stuff now.
I think that's definitely part of writing. It's a learning process the whole way through. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be fun. It's kind of fun figuring out like what I want for it, and it's so much so like when I made this new character that like I'm kind of already like, wow, he's kind of became a lot more interesting than the protagonist. That's like, okay, I almost want to make him the protagonist. Like, no, you have her. You can keep her. Don't keep changing it.
So, it's really interesting because you say you're a pantser, and that's really difficult to do plot twists with, because you have to kind of keep track of how the stories progress. Now, obviously, you have to do that anyway with the architect style, but the architect style is slightly easier because you already have that structure there ready to work with, and then you kind of work around it.
I think that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, but when did you sort of find out that you were a pantser rather than someone who planned everything?
Because that's how I've been my whole. I can't recall ever a time where I wrote down an outline. I'm not an outliner. That part I think I probably find kind of boring, but I realize right now it's panting is not by itself is not entirely best for me. I need to plan things out, or else I will sit here at my computer and not write a single thing.
Oh no.
I think panting is really difficult, yeah.
Yeah, other people can do it pretty good. I think I need I need to change how I do things to blend them together, so I'm not completely lost. I mean, I'm doing pretty.
Oh, sorry.
I'm doing.
Sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
I've almost said 2,000 words so far, so that's just that right now. This is just me pulling what I think would be interesting while keeping other things in my head. But once I think the more I write, the more I'm like, okay, you need a little more structure to make this work.
I think there needs to be like a word that's created that is in between the architect style and the pantser style, where you've got someone who does a little bit of planning, but then kind of wings it as they're going along with that little bit of planning.
We need a word for a hybrid. Yeah, you're right. We need a hybrid word.
I think there was one. It was like plantser. That's what I've heard. I've heard plantser.
A plantser. I like that.
Planning, plantser.
Because I don't. What do you do, Adam? Are you a planner or are you a pantser?
I'm definitely a planner. I'm working on the sequel to the Mantis variant right now, and I've already plotted out something like 25 chapters, and I've only written the first 4 of them, and I already know exactly what's going to happen. Even if in the process of writing, I, like you're saying, add a plot twist, or I change something, or I realize there's another chapter I need to squeeze in the middle somewhere that to tell some other part of the story. I know at least half of my book fully planned out and done, I'm just letting, and that's kind of, to me, I think that works. Kind of like the hybrid, what you're talking about. I haven't written the end of my book yet. I don't know exactly how it's going to end. But the first book, I didn't either. And I knew that I was leading to an ending that was going to be climactic, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to do that. And as I told the story, as I developed those characters, it came to me. I was like, I know exactly how this is going to end. And that's what I'm waiting for this book. I'm the sequel. I'm moving along. I've got a lot of it planned. I know something horrible is going to happen at the end of this book also, but I haven't quite figured it out. So, yeah.
So go on.
I have no idea how mine's going to end just yet because I think part of that just because I'm very this is my first going to be my first full thing, so I don't know if I should aim for make more books or just keep it a self-contained story. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys do in that situation?
The book itself might tell you. I think the book might tell you while you're writing it. You might be like, oh my gosh, I have to tell this side story, but it's too much information. I'm going to have to write another book. Or you end and you're like, wow, I realized that this one character's story is complete, but there's so much more I've got to tell that comes after this. I think the story will make sense to you. Or you'll be like, wow, it's totally done. That's everything. And that's it. I think it'll tell you how it feels,
Okay.
Yeah. I tend to write the ending first. That's normally always the first bit I write because I know
some people do that, but I don't think I knew that about you, Jules. Really? That's amazing.
I'm an endings girl.
What's it like to start at the ending?
It's normally the way that I structure the book. Every chapter has a climax at the end of it, so it draws you into the next chapter. And I partly did that because of some of the books that I read when I was a child. I really enjoyed that. Some of them I was hooked. I was like, I need to know what happens next. And so because I really liked that style, and I knew I was going to write a series, I haven't done I didn't so much for my children's fantasy, but for my Ray series, I knew that I wanted to write something that was going to be a big cliffhanger at the end, but also give Ray some sort of ending as well. So it was more coming together. How can I bring those two elements that are completely opposite to each other together so that it completes the story but starts a new one? And so you have to kind of think, well, how how can I keep the reader going? So this is how I did it. This might not be how everyone does it if they do it this way, but mine was more like, well, what can I have that happens in the next story that I can bring forward a little bit and place at the end of that book so that it leads naturally into that story when the readers read it. And so it was more like thinking, well, what could be at the very beginning of that next book that I can then lead into? So it's kind of like in between pantsering. Is pantsering a word? Pantsering?
Plantser. I get.
I'm definitely that. And so yeah, I'm in the middle. And so what I did was, so like book one, she ends up in the mountains, but then there is a query as to what happens about her sister who she's left behind, and how does she get back to her? And it ends with Ray's thoughts on that. So it kind of leaves you going into, well, this is what might be happening in book two. So it does give a little bit of planning in terms of structure and how how I kind of created the books. But in between, and actually how the story progresses, I'm pantsering the whole way. I don't think is pantsering the right word, like when you're actually doing pantsering. Oh my god, I'm gonna get stuck on this word all night now.
How to conjugate the word pants?
Plants.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I do it. So I have an idea of how I want to leave it on a cliffhanger. So I know I need it on a cliffhanger. I know I need it to have an ending, and I need it to have a beginning at the same time. And so it's normally in an action or in a thought. And so book 3 ends up in an action. And you're kind of left with it, not knowing what happens.
That's awesome. I feel like the starting end has an ending a lot like what you're talking about with the thoughts that leads into who knows what. It's the main character. He's just come out as non-binary. He realizes that he's doesn't want to be referred to as male anymore, and he goes with this woman onto a ship, and they leave the island. And his last thoughts are, I haven't seen the whole island yet. I haven't even seen the whole city yet. I haven't even swum in the sea. Why am I doing this? Why am I leaving? No, we're doing this. Let's go. And he takes off, and and then the last sentence is something like, and he stepped foot off the island. And that ending made me so happy when I wrote it because it leads to who knows what. There's so many possibilities for what could come next in the story. Just joy.
It's
joy.
Very satisfying. It is a very satisfying process, isn't it, when you get to that point? I suppose I've always known that I wanted to write a series, but Adam and I are actually collaborating together on a potential series. We haven't decided yet, have we, whether it's going to be like ongoing, but we are currently working on a book together, which is, again, I'm enjoying the process, and I know that you're a bit further ahead than I am in terms of what you've written, but oh my god, the research has been amazing.
I think that the creativity hit me one day, and I banged out a whole bunch. I wrote a whole bunch, but we spent days researching the city and talking about different locations and all sorts of stuff. And I think that at some point the inspiration will hit you, and you'll write a big chunk of it, and we'll just keep going.
I think a lot of mine is doing a lot of research, because obviously I'm playing a baddie. So it's pretty cool, but I'm having to get into the mind of that kind of person at the moment. So a lot of my research is a lot of videos, documentaries, and it's a lot of dark stuff
about bad people.
Yeah, so I'm really I'm doing like not method writing, but I'm kind of getting into the whole like mindset of that.
Dwelling in the darkness.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely quite intense.
That's what we're going for.
Cool.
So yeah, it should be good. But Adam and I I'm mentioning it each time we do a podcast, just to kind of wet people's whistle, just to kind of drip feed it in there that we are doing one, and we're hoping to get it out fairly soonish, I suppose. Maybe this year, early next year.
Hype.
Absolutely,
Hype you guys up.
absolutely. I can't even give you the name yet because we're still developing that. But
Work in progress. Yep, work in
it
progress.
is, it absolutely is. But can I just say, for the record, it has been Adam. I literally cannot do this without him. He's been absolutely solid with everything. Props to you, Adam. You've been amazing. Even today, when I was going, oh my God, the whole world's ended. You were like, it's fine, Grace. Just chill, it's fine.
Yep.
And I was like, ah.
Well,
I think our collaboration is good, and I hope we encourage other people to do collaborations as well, whether that's with writing or podcasts or whatever. Yeah, no, I think connecting with people.
Absolutely. And I'm going to plug a bit of something else. We'll come back to talking about the books in a minute. So this is the other thing. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Which one should I use? Say blue or brown, Adam. Which one would you choose?
Blue.
Blue. Okay, let's go with this one.
Whoa.
I've done it in the background. In the background. Wrong one. Where's it gone? There we go.
Aha.
Hey. No, I know you can't see us. Oh, wrong way. The lighting's terrible here. I'm really sorry I've covered you, Jonah. I am so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
You're still here with us.
All good.
We can't see. So this is a competition that we are also running, and this is for fellow story writers and for people who would like to write some poetry or a story. It's a short story or poem of no more than 1,000 words, with key themes, with a wolf, a magnifying glass, and the outer rings of Saturn. And so it is designed as a competition. Adam, did you want to add anything else to it?
Let's talk about the award. The winners of the competition are going to be not only published in a volume, we're going to have a compilation volume that all the winners will be published together. So it's all themed and under the wolf, magnifying glass, and outer rings of Saturn. But also 15% of the proceeds of that volume, the compilation that we sell in the future, 15% is going to go to the Trevor Project, which is a nonprofit that works to help works for suicide prevention for the LGBTQ community, especially youth in the LGBTQ community. We love that and we're supporting that. And so it's going to a good cause. So please write something wonderful and share it with us. And we just want to celebrate good writing and creativity. So that's what's going on.
And just to add to that, it could be in any genre. So it could be dark, it could be erotic, it could be crime, thriller, romance, doesn't matter. So you write in your style however you want. The only stipulation is you have to have those 3 elements in it, but how those elements present themselves is entirely up to you. There is a $10 entry fee to cover admin costs, which you can see on the screen. There is a PayPal QR code, so you can scan that and that will take you directly to the payment on PayPal. So send them in. The email address, I'll put that up on the screen in a short while, so you can just email your stuff over, and we will get reading into it. Okay. So cool. Sorry, a little interlude there.
I actually didn't know that was still going. Because I was going to participate, but I got sick near the end of the November. It's like, oh shoot, I'm going to be too late. Which I still have the rough drafts that I'm working on. So I was like,
yay! We haven't posted about it as much recently. We just, I think over the holidays just got distracted. We'll post about it again soon. Yeah. So is there a deadline?
A new deadline now? Like it's no longer December, or is it just?
We've opened up the deadline a little bit so that it allows more people to come, because this is the first one that we're doing. We want people to really get involved, and we'd rather have more people publish as published authors, because it will be through a publishing company, and to be able to showcase their work than worry about having extremely tight deadlines, because it was right before Christmas. So we want to open it right up there. So at the moment it's an open deadline, but we will, once we start accumulating a plethora of winners, which we're starting to get there. We got some. We will then we'll let you know when there's a tight deadline.
Okay.
So I'm going to put up the email address that it goes to on the screen in just a moment, and you can send it there. And we look forward to your interest.
Well, I'll know what I'll look over my what I have so far and see if I like it, and then go and try and do something with it then.
Cool.
Oh,
Cool.
do. Because you get to have the accolade of being an award-winning author. You get to have the accolade of having your work published, and you also and you can also share that with people, and we there are other things that we're considering as well, and this is only the number one competition, so we're looking at having many more. If you do miss the deadline for this one, then there will be others, so but different things. Okay, all right.
Shall we do some reading? Is that the next step for our afternoon?
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Jonah, do you have anything you'd like to read to us? I know that puts you on the pressure a little bit, so I don't want you to feel obliged to. You don't have to.
Does it have to do with what we're talking about today?
No, certainly not. You can read anything you want if you're comfortable doing it. Yeah.
Well, I guess I did have a scene that I wrote out that kind of made me drawn to this character, so I'm a little proud of it. But again, I'm also like a little nervous to share it because I have not spoken and read to people in quite a while, so it's it's a little nerve-wracking, but I can still give it a whirl.
We would love that, and there's
I
totally no
feel
pressure.
a little more confident.
Sorry. Yeah, there's no pressure. Just take your time and
go on.
Yep. No, I think it's gonna be great.
Okay. Okay.
So what we'll do is, are you okay being on the screen on your own, or would you prefer us to be here with you? That's the first question.
That is a good question. How about I let one of you guys go first, so I can kind of just see you guys get into it, and then I will feel better about deciding what's better for me.
Jules, why don't you start today? Why don't you start?
1 second. Let me just get this email address ready for you. Hang on a second. Sorry, I'm just typing it out.
Stuff.
If you're watching, please join the competition.
That's it. Yeah, I'm at danucompetition@gmail.com. I'll just stick that up on the screen for you. There we go. Oh, goodness me. Hang on. Now I've got too many banners. Here we go. No, not that one. Ignore that one. Where's it gone? It's disappeared. Oh, okay. Okay. I'll have to put that up in a minute. I would quite like to read a bit from book 2 because I feel that for me, although I liked writing book 1, I really enjoyed the process and everything. I really like the story in book 2 because it has a much faster pace than book 1. And we start seeing Ray's character starting to show. So I'm just going to turn to a random chapter. So I haven't actually selected anything specifically. So it's literally going to be completely random. Okay. So this is, I always do my books in 2 parts. There is going to be a reason for that. But you don't know it yet. I'm trying so hard not to give you too many spoilers, but I know you're like, give me spoilers, and I'm like, no.
To be fair, I don't mind being spoiled because I'm still gonna read it and enjoy it in my own way.
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
That's good. That's good.
The difference between being spoiled with a TV show that's going to end in an hour and you're going to see the whole thing in that course of an hour versus the days that it's going to take us to read through a book and the story that you're going to draw us on, there's no way that you can spoil it just by telling us something. Especially with volumes that are that thick, it's going to be a surprise no matter what you tell us.
See, this is why I need him.
Adam's a delight. Absolute delight.
He absolutely is. Absolutely is. See, look, it's all praise Adam. Hey, thee.
Go Adam. Go Adam.
I although we're messing around, I do mean it. I genuinely couldn't do the show without him. So, Thank you. It's true. I genuinely couldn't. Okay, so this is just a random chapter. This is actually the chapter immediately after part 1 ends. And so part 2 tends to be a shift. So part 1, you tend to, I'll give you a little spoiler, as you both said that so nicely to me. So the parts that I have, so part 1 tends to be Ray's thought processes where she's like, oh, this is all going a bit rubbish. I don't really know what I'm doing. And then part 2, you see a shift in the way that she sees herself. And although it's not immediately obvious, it kind of moves her forward in terms of things. There are other reasons as well, but that's one of the reasons why I have in part. So you can kind of identify that aspect of her personality. And I think, I don't know about you guys, but I can certainly identify with the fact that there are moments in time when you've kind of gone, I feel like a different person. I've dealt with this differently, or there's been a situation you're like, oh, I didn't realize I was going to react like that. And so you have that shift, don't you, without even thinking about it. So I've kind of added that in my own little way. Okay, chapter 16.
Do you want to put yourself up on the screen alone?
I can show Jonah how we do it here. Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah,
I'm going to remove you both. Yeah, I'll remove both of you. Right, see you in a bit. Okay, I'm going to mute you both as well. Okay, so this is chapter 16 of my book of Shadow and Swords. Raven! I called out his name as I ran through the cottage kitchen and straight into him. Oof! The commanders, I panted, having run a mile from Tristan's conclave. He stepped away from me, scrutinizing my face at the red welts from the tattoo that adorned the area around my eye and temple. No, he shook his head. You promised. Why shouldn't I? I demanded, scowling. They can help. His eyes were dark and cold, and the emerald green dimmed. Did I make a mistake? You get annoyed with me because I went behind your back. Well, you've done the same thing. He pointed to my tattoo, his voice increasing in volume as he spat the words out. How could you? Callian and I brought you to Tristan to help find out who sold my sister out. Why are you mad about this? I struggled not to match his tone, but anger bubbled in my stomach and heat flooded my chest. Why? You promised you wouldn't, that's why. This is what we need to get the children back, to get Naily. I thought you'd understand. I shouted the words at him. It didn't make sense for him to be angry with me. He reached his hand to touch the tattooed area on my head. But you've not just gone to them for help, did you? Because they've made you a commander. You're one of them now. Why are you angry at me about this? It's my decision. My voice was louder now, and I scowled at him. How could he not see this was the right thing to do? Angry? I'm not angry, Ray, just disappointed. His voice was softer, but colder, as he tilted his head, observing me. I thought you were tougher than this. But why are they so bad? If you tell me, I will understand. It's too late now. Besides, I can't. He turned away. You'll never leave them. You're in this for life now, so it doesn't matter what I say. He began to walk away from me, but I grabbed his arm to stop him. He paused and looked back at me, a deep sadness in his eyes. They've been itching for a proper war for years. It's the archers they've asked you to lead on, isn't it? My mouth opened to respond, but nothing came out. What could I say? The sides of his cheeks flexed from him gritting his teeth. His eyes glinted with deep hurt, and he tugged his arm away from me and stormed out of the house. Take no heed from him, Ray. Enepe's warm filled the void with its soft echo. He misses his father. Hagper was a kind man, gone too soon. As I turned to face her, the realization struck me. A single tear trickled down her left cheek. No, Raven's angry at the envoy and himself, not you, and not the commanders even.
Just give him some time. For us in the north, this war has gone on far too long. The war? Didn't the long war finish nearly 17 winters ago? Pa had always told me I'd been born at the very end of it. Just because that's what the records say doesn't mean it's true. The long war has never stopped. Why? Come, Enepe beckoned. Let me show you something. I followed her to the cosy sitting room where the flames danced and flickered in the hearth, and she rummaged in the large wooden chest nestled to the side of the inglenook fireplace. Ah, here it is. A sentimental expression lifted the worry lines on her face as she placed the narrow, long wooden box from the chest on the large rug. From it, Enepe took a rolled-up piece of linen and rolled it out onto the soft wooden pile. The material was yellowed with age and had various strands of loose thread at its edges, with a sprawled-out patchwork of images of people carrying what appeared to be spears and swords. This tapestry is from the first people. Wow, they made this? Enepe nodded. It shows us at war with one another, and, look here, she indicated a strange angled item that many soldiers held in their hands as they aimed at others with spears or swords. Several appeared to show a projectile of some sort coming out of it. This is the weapon they used. The soldiers had the item in their hands, had faded orange eyes, and some were lying down. They must have been injured or dead. I stroked the fiery image of Arc Don with my fingertip. Fire, earth, air, and water. The four gods. Diva Adnu, Arc Don, X-Energy, and Diagon. Somebody had woven their images with a skill I'd never be able to do, each in colour and surrounding flare of what they each represented. A green leaf enveloped the image of this particular goddess, Diva Adnu, because she represented the element of earth, the colour of a black flame for Arc Don's cape as she was the elemental for fire. X-Energy had a blue wave splashed around him, and Diagon had a white swirl of a cloud that embraced his image. I never believed in them. I did. My chest ached to speak about him. The deep pain overwhelming from longing to share memories with someone, or the conflict I had over his involvement with the envoy. He used to talk about the power they held, but I suppose I never saw it. They just didn't seem real, you know? Oh, the gods are real enough if you want them to be. See here. Enepe pointed to some hooded figures that dotted the image of the battlefield. These were the first monks. They could wield power then, taught to all who entered the order. It's what started the first war, the war that triggered the collapse, what the envoy has been after for years. You might not believe in the gods, Ray, but their power does exist. Raven thinks I've signed up for some sort of crusade like what the ancients did, doesn't he? She handed me the linen to look at and sat back on her haunches. Since the official end of the long war, the commanders have worked hard to keep us safe from the envoy, but their philosophy has been to remain underground and hidden. A policy that had made a lot of people angry. Raven hates that they have never sought justice for his father, and leaves the apparent leader of this tribe to Callian. And you? She sighed. Hagba thought he'd find a way to harness the monk's power. They wouldn't let me see his body. Whatever he found, the commanders thought that they were protecting me. I'm so sorry, Aina, I said, wiping away a tear as it escaped my eye. The mark of a commander is a great gift, a heavy burden, and identifies you as a target, even to our people, many of whom would you just for working with them. The other half would demand your eviction from Mon Solis, simply because you're an outsider who has muscled her way into a conclave that should only be pure Solians. Raven just wants to keep you from the hatred of the natives, that's all. Her words stung. What had I done? I'd put myself and my friends, my family, at risk. Ennepe held her hands out for the linen and took her time to roll the tapestry up and place it in its case, then grasped my hand tight, her eyes pleading with me to listen. You cannot hide who you are, Ray. The commanders would not have done this without good cause. They see something in you. My Hagper would give you blessings to take his place. He'd be proud to stand with you. There is something else you need to see as well. Here. She handed me a small wooden box. What's in this box is a gift for you, she said with a slight nod. It had a familiar appearance. Somehow I knew I'd seen this box before. I ran my fingers over the smooth surface with a strange heptagon symbol indented in the wood, the same one on the book. My fingers traced its outline. The same symbol was the pendant that the envoy had stolen from me when they captured me in the box Pa had given me when he was dying. My heart skipped a beat. Was this what I thought it was? With trepidation I opened it. There, Oh, wow. That was a journey and a half. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like literally everything crashed. My phone crashed, Clubhouse crashed, my computer went. Can you hear me all right? You can. All right, okay. So is it okay? Do you want me to carry on reading? It's up to you. I sent you a message saying, can you click over? Let me bring you back onto the stream. Hang on a second, Adam. I'll bring you back on. Hi.
Everyone for a second. Oh, am I muted? Am I muted? Oh, I'm not. Okay.
You're not muted. Oh my goodness.
Major technical difficulties today. Oh my God.
That absolutely was. I'm really sorry. Everything crashed. Clubhouse has crashed on me as well. So I don't know what happened. I might speak to Indy and see if we can do a bit of editing.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah. Do you want to pick up from where you left? Was there much more to read? Did you have a bit more to share with us?
I was going to finish the chapter, but I'm aware of time, and there's only a couple of pages left. I didn't want people to sort of be hanging on, sort of waiting for me. But I forgot when I messaged you that you couldn't add yourself to the screen. So it was literally like an empty screen that everyone was looking at. So I do apologize, everyone. I don't mind. I can carry on reading, or we can.
Why don't we jump back in and get back into our flow? Yeah. Why don't you finish the chapter and we'll get our flow back on again.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's cool. All right. Okay. All right. So, and Clubhouse has just got a wheel going around at the moment, so I don't even know if I'm live there or not. So I do apologize to people if I am. Okay. So, should I just put myself back on the screen? Hopefully it doesn't crash this time. Might be worthwhile actually, just in case it. You stay on the screen just in case.
No, leave me on. That's fine. Yep, that's fine.
Okay, just in case. Okay.
Just in case.
All right. Okay. It's the only thing of value I own, more valuable than this. She gestured to the wall of her home. You brought home two of the most precious things in my life. You brought them home when I was beginning to prepare myself for not seeing them again, and I will never be able to repay that debt. But at least I can give you something that might go a small way to show just how much you have done for me. Anna Pay. Anna, please. You're as good as family now. My daughter. Anna paused for a moment, regarding me as her eyes reddened and filled with tears. My vision blurred as mine whirled, and my bottom lip wobbled. Daughter. I was no longer alone. I had a home, a family. Raven told me that you lost yours, and I want you to know that we're all here for you if you'll have us. Nodding, I couldn't take my eyes off the towel that rested in the box, despite the distortion in my vision as the salty tears fell in rivulets down my cheeks. How did she get this? Anyway, I just wanted you to know that if you ever need or want to talk about anything, then I am here for you.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Jules again? Hey Jonah, can you hear me? Comment in the screen if you can. You can hear. Okay. So hi everybody. I don't know what happened. We lost Jules.
Oh, I'm back again. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on.
There must be some bad connection on your end or something. Oh my God. I'm sorry.
I don't know what's happening. No, I'm sorry.
You're giving us an emotional part of the story too.
Oh, I'm trying. Let me see if I can log in a different way. Okay, there. Okay. It would have been none if you had not been there for Raven and Ash. Silas died with honor, and he will always be with us. The envoy did it, not you. Don't you ever forget that. You hear? Anna put the large box away and smiled at me, her luscious grey curls framing her broad cheekbones. Hey, it's all right. You're not on your own anymore. We'll support you through this, even Raven. Giving me a gentle squeeze on my arm, she stood and turned to gaze down at the fireplace. For a moment, she paused there and then took some needlework out from a basket sitting on a rocking chair, busying herself with it, humming to herself. As I closed the lid of the remnant, my eyes fell onto her again, observing how she was able to focus on this one simple task, one I'd never mastered due to sheer impatience. She was so comfortable being at home. Was I cut out to do this? Was this my future? To be spending my days by the fire, wondering how safe we were, flinching at random noises and wondering how the soldiers were faring. As comforting as the flames were, never be safe until we defeated the envoy. A strange sense of unease flurried in my stomach. Aina, how did you get this? Ah, I was waiting for you to ask me that, she said, not looking up from the material that she was sewing a pattern on, the fabric draped across her lap like a blanket. I didn't dare touch the towel if it reacted with one I already had, so I held the box in a tentative grip, ready to stow away once we'd finished talking. Many years ago, Hagpa returned to me from battle. This was before Raven was born, whilst I was still carrying him and Silas. Wounded almost fatally, I nursed him back to health. It took months, and he witnessed the Raven and our baby boy communicating. Silas was so happy for him. A short while after this, a monk visited us. Strangest looking man I'd ever seen. He never took his hood off and wouldn't speak until he was inside the house. He said he had a gift for Hagpa, who saved him from the slavers. A mention of slavers jolted my mind to the monk who'd spoken to me. Since the fight with the Rakshasas, it had been pretty dormant. The wounds were not correctly healing, and left ugly scars across my stomach and leg. But perhaps it wasn't supposed to aid healing. The frustration of simply not understanding how to utilize the towel was overwhelming. The symbiotic creature seemed to have a life of its own, and I had no way to control it or use it. Unfortunately, I had no way of getting rid of it either, so we were stuck with one another. The towel was an unknown creature from a strange place and time, and me, the last sentinel. Aina said the monk had given it to her. Could this have been what the same monk had shared his sad story with me? Aina had a faraway expression. She wasn't after anything other than for her family to be safe. I'm going to stop there because I want you guys to have an opportunity to share. I mean, I have only got a little bit left, but I feel a bit guilty hogging. Oh, you're muted, Adam. You're like doing mime at the moment. There you go.
There we go. Got it. Sorry.
That's all right. Don't worry. I'm going to stop it there because I feel like I'm hogging the whole thing at the moment, and I feel really guilty. So I'm going to pause it.
Well, that's fine. We love the reading. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, in there you can hopefully hear. I'm going to bring Jonah back to the screen as well, if that's all right, Jonah. Ready? 3, 2, 1. I'm going to unmute you as well. Yay. There you go. Yeah. So hopefully there you can kind of hear it interwoven a little bit, the green eyes and the towel and things like that. So yeah. Anyway, what about you two? Who would like to read next?
I think I might as well just get it out of the way.
Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
go for it. Throw yourself in the deep end. If you want us to stay on screen with you, that's absolutely fine.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we just all stay on screen so there's no glitching? We'll just be there with you.
Okay.
That's absolutely fine.
From Rough Draft Zero, so I don't expect it to be the best, but okay. Okay.
Feel free to tell us anything about the story ahead of time or whatever you need to, and yeah, we'll mute ourselves while you're reading. Okay.
I'm just getting used to seeing myself on screen reading because usually I'm not on screen. Reading. So it's okay.
What I can do? Why don't I remove you from the screen, but keep you not muted so that people can still hear you? So you're reading, but you're not visible. If you feel more comfortable doing that, and Adam and I can stay on screen, if you like.
I think that will work fine this time. I'll probably, as I do this, I'll feel better about it.
No, that's fine. This is why we do it, to build a community, to help people and support each other. We're not here to kind of like criticize you and bring you down. So if that is what's going to help you feel better, that's cool with us. So I will remove you. See, it's just Adam. And if you say something, Oh no, she can't. She can't. Oh no. We're gonna have to you back to the screen. We couldn't hear you.
Okay, then I'll just stand the stream. You guys can be up here, and I will try and read to the best of my ability. And I'll when I
have another idea. Say, hang on, I've got another idea. I can put an image on as an overlay, like I did before. Like I put the competition image on, so we could still hear you, but we couldn't see you. So why don't
you can
I
hear
do
me
that?
read it? Well, you can hear me read it. You can promote it.
Yeah. So should we put the competition one up again for everyone? She's saying, Adam. Let's put the other one up this time. There we go. There we go. So we can't see you, but we can still hear you.
Okay. 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 I'll let you know when I'm ready to finish this, whatever I have in the scene. Okay. So, okay. 1, 2, 3, and do you remember anything about her? Sally's already muffled voice shook as she huddled tighter into the corner of the living room. If there was anything more shocking in that moment, it was the absence. For the first time, Balthazar doesn't approach her, nor does he envelop her with his presence. Instead, he just stood across the room, eyes unusually wide. Absolute silence. What is this now? There was no reason for someone like himself to be all tongue-tied, to be so struck in place by such a question. It should have been a simple answer, right? He looked towards Sally once more, and his mind flashed again. Anna, Sally, Anna, Sally. Just Sally now. In the midst of the silence and confusion between them, the young teen had relaxed for the most part, just enough to look at him. The state of her gaze, however, refused to change. Anna, Sally, the one who sprung from wherever Anna once was. In a decade and a half, no, perhaps more. This couldn't possibly. Oh, Anna, just what did you do in those years? Was he not supposed to be here? Was Balthazar deeming nothing more than a facade down to the very name? This had been his life for as long as he could possibly remember. Constellations right at his fingertips, all down to memory. Magic midterms and final exams, both mixed with pride and disappointment. Quiet summers in solitude until the cycle repeated itself. It all seemed natural, just one piece of the puzzle he fits into. Just a regular theurgist, perhaps a rather eccentric professor at best, according to those around him. His colleagues discussed and his students asked, all of which he garnered responses here and there. Living, one would call it. That was simply living. The silent tension continued as he darted his eyes all around the cozy abode he had called home since those years ago. He got his due from work and filled it with the little things. The scent of jasmine, the rugs as soft as quilts, and giant books with brilliant illustrations. Even now, he had grown accustomed to the presence of his young student as well. The stuffed rabbit sitting at the dining room chair, notes with doodles on the coffee table with a teenager scrawl by crayons, and the little coffee cup with the strawberry that was filled with hot cocoa, and only hot cocoa every night. This is his life. This has been his life. It was all here as it always has been. Never once did it feel out of place, but somehow in this moment. Balthazar finds his hand to his face, running through tresses of hair. Shoulders, ribs, hands, skin, all fitting together, all unraveling at the seams, all at the same time. He was still here. He can remember all of that, but what of before? Sally, Anna, all over again. She was her mother's child in features, save for the deep brown eyes versus Anna's green. He sees Anna once more, and the familiar intense curiosity in green eyes, burning for more. Only now, Anna has been gone all this time. He knew that much now. He knew her and that grimoire she was so entwined into. There was something not right in all this. Balthazar squared his shoulders, throat tight and air caught in his chest. Sally was back once more before his eyes, the intense gaze of green replaced with that of gentle, questioning deep brown. Balthazar wished he could answer her question in full truth, that he did know her, and of her insatiable curiosity and drive for knowledge. It's partially true. Yet if that was all he said, it just all felt hollow of an answer. So what could he say? What could he tell the girl who only had the relics her mother left behind? And that's it.
Yay! Thank you so much for reading. That was wonderful.
I love
That
that.
was very smooth, very great writing. That was wonderful. Seriously.
Thank you.
It really was. What made you write, in that way? Because there was some very unique.
Oh my God, is she glitching out again? Oh no.
I think the plot
Me
twist
still.
is that
Oh, there you go. Oh, okay.
I was gonna say the plot twist is that I messed with the technology.
That's so cool. What made you come up with that idea though? Because obviously, all plot twists are different, and we've been talking about them. But what made you do that?
Well, I don't really know how to describe it because for some reason, when I was thinking like, okay, she needs somewhere to be at. Like I wasn't sure of like the dorms or anything, but I'm working on ideas in my mind, and that Balthazar, he's an instructor. He takes her under his wing, and what I wanted is that there's more to him that she doesn't know about, and I kind of wanted him to be kind of associated somehow with the grimoire, but I don't. So like maybe he's part of it, maybe he's not. I'm still kind of working that out, but I was like, I liked where I was going with it, and I was like, I was like, okay, just what does he know? What does he doesn't know? And I was like, this is the scene that kind of got everything rolling, and now he's kind of become my little favorite right now. I just like, and it's like I want to write more about him.
That's awesome. I think that
it is. And can I just say, you read that really well. Sorry, go on, Adam.
No, go ahead.
I was just remarking that despite how nervous you were, you read that really well. That was beautiful, the way that you read it. You're a really good out loud reader. So yeah.
I appreciate that. Especially because as I was reading, there's errors, so I had to kind of like stop for like really briefly to kind of just make it make more sense. I didn't want to like write it typos and all, but
no. Totally makes sense. Yep. And I think that it's great to have a secondary character that you put a lot of energy into, even if Balthazar doesn't turn out to be your main character, like you're thinking you like him so much that he might, like, you could put a lot of energy into him. I
was just like, because I was he kind of came inspired because I was re-listening to some music, because the character of Sally has gone through a lot of renditions. Like she was going to be like the thing for one of my other projects that I didn't feel like she was working in, and I was listening to music that I kind of had from her inspiration, and one of them, I don't know if you guys listen to Mother or anything. There's Anna. That's how Anna got her name, and I was thinking, okay, that's how he came to be. So what I kind of want for him to be, if I don't make him the main character, is that he kind of becomes like her guardian. He doesn't get like as close to her. Like it's just like, she's a student, he's a teacher, but he's kind of, for some reason, he finds himself having to be protective of her, kind of like a father figure. What does that mean in the grand scheme of things? Why does he feel like something's, he suddenly just appeared and that's his life? I don't know yet. I'm just kind of figuring that out. It's mostly just playing with the concepts.
I'm sure that as you develop him, his backstory will come to you. It'll all make sense. Even if you don't write his backstory into the story itself, just once that's sort of developed in your mind, I think that'll help guide you with where he goes in your story.
Yeah, I'm happy. It's weird because he just run from one little song. It's like, okay, I love him now. When I wrote that scene, I was like, yes, I need someone like him to kind of be a part, like, because her love it. The other like protagonist kind of has some friends, and like I realized Sally didn't have anything, so I was trying to think of, okay, she needs kind of a friend too, and she also needs someone who's like kind of in a Harmony said, where do you get the names from? One thing you'll know about me is that I'm really, really, really into looking up names and thinking like, okay, everything sounds cool together. I love names. I love looking up the meanings of names, and I just think of what kind of goes good together. So I don't know how else to really answer that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yep. I did research on names for my characters also, meanings of old names or obscure names or stuff like that. Yeah, I did very similar research.
I kind of like I want to be a tell. Like if you know you're reading a book of mine, it's like okay, here's some names you don't usually see, or there's like a lot of like I put a lot of thought into names. I just like that part.
That's awesome. Yep. Well, cool. Shall I read a little bit now? Is that cool?
No. Feel free.
Oh, you have another question, Jules. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that names are quite interesting, and I think everyone also has their own way. So, for example, Hagpa is actually. I asked my husband, he was in the army for a long time, and I said to him, "Can you tell me the names of 2 people who you most respect?" And he gave me the names, and I kind of played around with the sounding of it, and I joined them together. So that's where that Hagpa came from.
Yeah, cool.
So, yep. Okay. Now, Adam, did you want to do some reading?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that. Yeah.
You know the drill. I'm going to come off the screen completely so that I feel like I keep messing it up because my internet's so rubbish at the moment. So, Jonah, you'll be pleased to know you don't have to sit on screen for this one. So I'm going to pull both us off. Adam, you know the drill.
I can handle it. Cool. Hi, everybody. It's me. I had it on my screen where I was about to read, and I scrolled past it. I'm sorry about that. So, yeah, I'm going to read from the Mantis variant, but I'm going to read from my computer because it's right in front of me, and that'll be good. But there's the cover of it, available on Amazon, brand new, super exciting. And yeah, so a little backstory. Let me build up where we're going. There are, in this chapter, we're going to deal with 2 different groups of characters. There are characters I named shifts. They're shifts. They are a small group of humans who have been born with incredible cosmic abilities, basically. And the second group of people, the demi-fae, they are hunting them. They have learned that they can steal the abilities from the shifts and use them to enhance themselves. So what's happened is a group of hunters earlier in the book has caught and killed a shift person and used them to enhance themselves, and now they are hunting another shift person. However, their leader insisted that they go out immediately, and they were very underprepared. And so we're just going to pick up with them right at the beginning of this chapter, and it's called Massacre. A woman was speaking, and her voice echoed from multiple locations around the alley where she was cornered. I can hear the cosmic music from the radiation of the universe. I can taste the elements that burn in the stars. She sounded like a goddess. I see the world. I can see eons. I look into distant corners of alien galaxies. There was wrath in her words, and they reverberated against the old concrete walls. Black discs of shadow hovered in the air like holes punched in reality, voids in the atmosphere. From them protruded headless skeletal torsos of smoke that were armed with weapons made out of darkness. The apparitions impaled with spears, slashed with swords, and crushed with clubs and maces. Human flesh was severed and pierced by the void warriors, and the cries of the dying rang out through the nearby streets of Teshin City. Bodies were broken, limbs were lost, and skulls were smashed by the shadow weapons. Any survivor of the massacre who tried to drag themselves away from the chaos were nailed to the pavement by massive pikes made out of smoke. All who entered that alley were utterly ruined, butchered by headless enemies against whom they were powerless. From his position of observation, Talon helplessly watched the evisceration of his underprepared team. The individual they were supposed to be hunting slaughtered them all, and Talon cursed his gift, giving him a perfect view of the devastation that befell his crew. Claw 1 was decapitated. Claw 2's arms were both lopped off above the elbows, and she fell to the pavement, writhing and screaming. But then she was skewered where she lay. Claw 4 was smashed and slashed, and he turned to flee for the mouth of the alley, but was hamstrung and crashed to the street. He roared in agony. A horrible weapon of darkness. The horrible weapons of darkness cleaved claws 5, 6, and 7, and their bodies fell mangled to the grimy gutter. Claw 4 was still wailing up from the pavement and trying to crawl away as the woman who was supposed to be their prey stepped up and stood over him. "Where are the others?" she asked him in a voice that came from all around. She did not wait for his reply. Another shadow hole opened and a headless torso rose from it. A massive battle axe was gripped in the apparition's bony fingers. It swung the weapon over where its head would have been and brought the blade down on the man's ankles like a guillotine. Claw 4 screamed like a lobster being boiled as his feet were removed from his ankles. The woman asked again, "Where are they?" "Fuck you," he spat, and without hesitation her darkness monster made another terrible cut with its axe. Claw 4 shrieked as both his legs were chopped through the femurs above his knees. "Who's out there?" she snarled above him. "Talon!" Claw 4 bawled and reached forward. "Damn it," thought Talon. "Who is that? Where is he?" She repeated herself with a snarl. "Where is he?" The shadow torso struck again with its axe, striking through the meat and bone of Claw 4's shoulder. The slice took off his arm. He whimpered and pointed up at the rooftop only a few blocks away where Talon was perched. She looked up and saw the man's shocked face staring back at her. And the battle axe shadow fell like an avalanche on Claw 4's neck. His head rolled away. Talon's enhancement allowed him to see every detail about her, including the expression of righteous malevolence that was scrawled across her face. In a flash of darkness, another disc appeared in the air beside Talon, and one of her creatures thrust its spear through his heart. His eyes bulged, and he gasped as the headless apparition disappeared and Talon fell from the rooftop and landed in a crumpled mess on the pavement. Boop! That's the end. So that was real gory and exciting, and the plot twist there is that the hunters were very successful earlier in the book, and here they were not successful at all and just got completely destroyed, and it's fun. And my readers who have commented on the book were very surprised and amused that these hunters who they were very upset, oh, they're hunting people, what is this? Well, don't worry, I took care of them. And that's just a taste of kind of the rest of the book. It's pretty gruesome all the way through. The world is very dystopian. It's totally a mess. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you about it. There's so many spoilers. But yeah, so get the Mantis variant because it's exciting. What did I say, like 200 pages? Yeah, thereabouts. But it's a quick read. It's exciting. Each chapter ends with a crazy cliffhanger where it just hopefully will keep people engaged and excited about what's coming next and nervous about what's happening.
I'm going to come back onto the screen.
Are we back?
No, I thought I'd come back only because I didn't want to interrupt you talking, but I didn't want you to feel like you were abandoned.
I did kind of.
Jonah, are you okay for me to bring you back on as well?
Oh, yes. Good. Excellent.
Screen. Yeah, that's fine. Jonah on my screen has, so I don't know if they are able to come back or not. Are you able to come back? Oh, lovely. Let me bring you back on. Hey.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry. I'm so sorry today. Like the technology's been great.
All over the place. No worries.
That was a really good read of them. I really enjoyed that. Your action scenes are awesome. They're really very visual. Very, very visual. And I like how violent it is.
It's got some of that. Yeah. And that's kind of the fun. Is like I only have one battle scene in my that's not true. One major battle scene in my in the starting end, the massive novel that I've written, and it was so much fun to write it that I was just like, how do I do more of that? And I was like, I can't make another book because it won't fit with the starting end to have just like a chaos book. I need to write something different, and that's what I did. I just took some of the battle ideas and just went crazy with this book. Yeah.
Now, how come you chose to write in this genre compared to your other ones? Because they are in the fantasy kind of banner, but they're both very different.
Yes.
So what made you sort of switch to a less erotic?
Like an herbal? Yeah, there's no erotica at all. Yeah, that's this book needs an explicit sticker for a completely different reason. Yeah. I think it's just that I wanted a contrast. I had other books that I wanted to write after I finished the starting end, and while I was working on them, the idea for the Mantis variant came to me, and it just the whole idea solidified very quickly, and I was able to finish writing that book before I finished writing other books, and it was just really a joy to write something so different. Yes, it's fantasy. Yes, it's got these fantastical elements, but the other one, it takes so much of it takes place in the forest and very fantasy type things that I wanted this to be so urban and gray and dismal, and I just wanted it to feel so different. Yeah, so I think that kind of answers the question.
Yeah, it does. I like the fact that you've switched styles, and I like the fact you've stretched and challenged yourself a little bit, because that's really important, I think. And that's, I don't know, I suppose for me, writing the book, the collaboration that I'm doing with you, I think I'm doing that. So for me, that's kind of really stretching it. What about you, Jonah?
As far as, am I being asked a question, or what is the?
Well, in terms of like stretching and challenging your skills as a writer, do you often do that, or do you sort of, try and challenge yourself sometimes?
Well, I know I'm probably going to be more fantasy in general. I do have ideas that I'm sort of I have ones that are probably would be a little bit more darker than the others. I don't know where this one will fall for what I'm writing right now. I had ideas for that's a little bit more lighter, and it's kind of inspired more by things that I love, or I want it to be lighter and more feel good, versus others I kind of want to dwell more and it's more, how do I want to put it? I guess deals with more stuff. I don't know how to describe it, but because I don't really have them out. In full detail.
No. I think that makes sense. I think Jules's books deal with a lot of trauma and overcoming personal things that you've gone through. My book definitely is about celebrating individuals. I think that it'll probably come to you how light or dark. You may have some themes already that you want to express, but I think that as you write it, it'll probably. Again, the book will reveal a lot to you about itself, what's important to you, because the writing process reveals a lot to us about ourselves. I think that once we put stuff on paper, it speaks to us in a different way than when we thought about it. So I think we grow just by the act of writing.
Yeah, I can see with some of my stuff that I have planned, I can see parts, because I'm kind of recovering from a lot right now, mentally, so I kind of see parts of me and some of my characters that I didn't realize I had until I went to therapy. So that's fun. And so, there's what else was I going to say? I'm not usually good with words when I when I talk. So it's I'm having to think right now.
No, that's marvelous. That's marvelous. And we've been doing this for a long time. We're starting to wind down, I think. So we're all probably getting tired of making our brains work for 2 hours straight, so it's okay.
It's all right. Well, I was going to say we're kind of coming to the end now anyway, but it has been an absolute pleasure having you on. Would you come back and visit us again?
If need to, yeah. My schedule now, it lets me have the Thursdays off, so I definitely can be there for a Thursday one, and hopefully I can.
That would be lovely. We'd love to have you back again.
Yay! I'm honored now. And hopefully
you're one of us now.
Yay! Yay! And maybe I'll be I know I have this one to focus on. Maybe I'll be working on other ones, and I'll have something new to share the next time I come around again.
Now, Adam and I are part of a Discord as well, and it's open to writers and authors and people who want to do beta reading as well. There is an amazing beta reader on there at the moment. They are brilliant. And so if you would like to join a community that's set up, I mean, I don't know if you know much about Discord, but it's a bit like Twitter, but a lot better. There's no toxicity on there.
I do have Discord. Yeah, I'm familiar with it well enough.
I'll send you the link. Yeah, great.
Do that. That'd be perfect.
Good.
Come and join us, and we're just there to help each other, share ideas. If we want to, you don't have to. We can just collaborate. If you want to, you don't have to. And it is just for writers. So people who we invite on here get a link sent to them. And obviously people who we meet online can get a link sent to them as well. So and it is a small community, but we are growing steadily and small amounts at a time. So you're very welcome to join us.
Writing is such an isolated process, and so many of us end up being alone for a lot of the time, that it's nice to connect with other writers, and whether or not you work with them, just to have other writer friends. I mean, the Twitter community is pretty cool, but to have an even more focused group is pretty awesome. Yeah.
That's kind of why I have the writing Twitter in the first place, to kind of build. And it's really weird to see already having like 140 people following me in 2 months. So I look forward to seeing, trying to build connections and make other writing friends. So I forgive if I'm like missing in action a lot on Discord, because work and everything. So, but I'm more than happy to join the Discord.
Sounds great.
Oh, listen, that would be lovely. Adam and I tend to talk normally every day, but there are some times when we miss each other for various reasons. We both have our own lives as well, so it's not always possible. But we're pretty frequent on there, aren't we, Adam, in terms of communication? So
almost every day. Yeah.
Yeah, it is almost every day. Not every day, but it's almost. And so I feel like doing this and meeting new authors and building that community really helps us, make friends, like you said, becoming friends with new people and things, which is really important. So, but I do want to thank you both for your patience, and everyone who is listening or will be watching this later on. I'm really sorry again for all the internet. It's gone a bit horribly wrong today. It's all been a fun one.
Maybe it's possible we can edit that out for the future watchers of the video.
That I do try and kind of like talk as if like we're talking about people who are watching it in future as well as people who are watching it now. So which is a very strange language to kind of master, but I'm getting there. And so you can follow both Adam and myself on Instagram as well. We have quite often have Reese the Storyteller on here too. She writes erotica, and we also have other guest authors as well who tend to be regulars who pop in and out. It's been amazing speaking to you, Jonah, and thank you so much for visiting us.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. And do stay in touch. And who knows? We'll have you on again very soon in the future, and you'll be able to share more about your story that you've been writing with us. That'll be so cool to hear, because you're a very good storyteller and you're a very good reader. So,
just keep doing it because it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And then come and join us over the dark side over on Discord. So anyway, without further ado, I am going to bid you both of you farewell, and pleasant dreams and days and week and whatever else. And I forgot one more thing before we go, very quickly. So Adam and Reese and Melanie and myself are doing a new aspect of this, which we hope will take off, it's going to be called the Book Slam After Dark, or the Book Slam Extra After Dark. And so it's going to be a very different take on what we do. There may be some sort of alcohol involved.
And there's going to be some current affairs, and we're going to talk about, funny stories in the news. And there's also going to be some interviews in a different way to what we do now. And there's also going to be a fun thing at the end, which I'm not going to spoil. I see The Voice has joined us as well. Melanie, do you want to pop in just very quickly before we disappear? So I add you to the stream. I'll add you quickly, hang on a sec. So this is one of our lovely, beautiful co-hosts who's going to be with us on the Book Slam Extra After Dark. I was talking about it. Hello. How are you?
Busy. Had a really rough day at school today at work, but it was fun. Working with kids, you never know what's going to happen. So it was fun. I've enjoyed the show today. Of course, I get to listen to you guys while I'm riding home, but I've enjoyed the show, and I'm just happy and excited about the Book Slam After Dark.
It's going to be so cool and very different, like a grown-up version of this.
Yes.
So I'm quite excited about that.
And, yeah. In case people didn't know that our thing was already grown up.
This is the real grown version.
This is the proper grown version. Yeah, you're probably going to see us all in a very different light. So it should be good. So that's airing on the 22nd, Sunday, the 22nd of January. So I'm not going to give too much away. It's going to be completely different to this. Hopefully it goes well. Melanie's got some responsibilities. It will. We'll be good.
We got the two Johnsons on there, so when we're together, it's gonna be an awesome time.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be it's gonna be rocking. What's the other thing? Oh, and we're in the process of planning a second normal Sunday Book Slam because the other Sunday Book Slam was actually quite good. People quite like that, so we're going to arrange that for the within the next sort of 4 weeks or so. So watch your space for that too. So that'll be coming your way. I am going to now actually finish saying farewell to everyone. Thank you very much, Melanie, for joining us. It's so lovely to see you. And I'm going to wish you all a very, 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 very good evening and afternoon and good night.
Good night.